Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Brian Holman, and on today's show, we'll talk all things beef with Ken talking to Randy Block with CattleFacts, and then Lee Reeve, the new president of KLA. Then Susan Metzger with KDA talks water, and we get a report from Kansas Wheat, plus the weekly report from Kansas Livestock Association and the market update from the guys at Paragon. Thanks for watching.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
And joining us now is Randy Block, the CEO of CattleFacts. Randy, you've been making the rounds with a lot of organizations, kind of giving them, let's hope is the good word, but you're at least bringing the honest word to where we are when it comes to supply and demand.
Well, there's been a lot going on out there, and I think, the one thing that you look at in the year we just finished in 2017, obviously we had a lot of production out here, but it was less than we'd anticipated a year ago because the industry did such a great job of marketing cattle in a timely fashion, and exports were strong.
Well, that's kind of been the story as if we were to place some key words on 2017, it would be exports, trade, and uncertainty. You think those would be one of the three key words?
Oh, I think they would, but I think the one that trumps all of those is profitability. All segments of the industry are profitable. We had the second most profitable year in the history of the cattle industry. Cow-calf producers, seed stock operators, backgrounders, stockers, finishers, and packers all had one of the best years in the books.
Well, you took my thunder. I was going to lead you up with that softball, but that's it. I mean, as we really look on this thing, everybody, all segments of the industry need to be pretty happy. It is a year of profit across the board.
No doubt about it. And I think the things that we look at that, how were we able to achieve that? Again, the questions do come back exactly to what you ask is, can we sustain this kind of level of export activity? We've got a lot of uncertainty around trade agreements with NAFTA. We're no longer into TPP agreements. That's not moving forward, at least with the U.S. today. So those are things that as an industry we really have to be mindful of because so much of what we've been able to benefit from has come from growing domestic demand and growing global demand. And the rate of improvement over each of the last 2 years has been better than the long-term average. So I think you have to question whether we can sustain that pace.
Well, it is, and we know the numbers have been down, but they've been somewhat steady going into the feed yards. But one of the things we talk about on a daily basis on the radio side is trying to figure out and trying to see the typical fundamentals aren't in play in this market, are they?
Well, there's still a lot of fundamentals. The supply and demand is still very much at play in the markets. There's no doubt about it. We go through our ebbs and flows, our very normal seasonal increases in supply that we get into in the late spring that'll carry us on into the late summer and early fall. The thing I would just remind your listeners is, and your viewers is, when we're in expansion trend, there isn't much seasonality to the supply side. Once you come through the first quarter, supply builds into the second quarter, and it stays big through the end of the year. And that'll be the case again in 2018 and 2019. We're still expanding. The cow herd will be up another approximately 700,000 head on January 1 of 2018. We'll still have to harvest nearly another million head of fed cattle in 2018 than we did in 17. So we've got a lot of supply to come through the system.
As we always like to ask you, we put that little crystal ball on. You look at the numbers, you look at things, short, mid, long-term outlook. Are we going to be on a pretty good run for a while?
We've had a pretty good run, but I think we still have to recognize that we have cyclical price risk ahead of us. Our markets got along pretty darn well in 2017. We need to expect we're going to see some price pressure in 2018. I think we still have some opportunity for profitability, but we need to expect prices are still going to have risk lower from now to 2020. So for cow-calf producers, still profitable in 2018, but more marginal by the time we get to 2019 and 20.
Randy, always good to see you. Thanks for your insights.
Oh, my pleasure to be with you. Good luck to all your listeners and viewers out there. Hope you have another wonderful 2018.
Randy Block, the CEO of CattleFax, has joined us from the KLA meeting in Wichita. I'm Ken Rogers.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel, made from U.S. soybean oil.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
And thank you for joining us. And just a couple days ago, the Kansas Livestock Association met for their annual meeting in Wichita. And the new president, Lee Reeve, who is a cattle feeder from Garden City. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate being here.
Okay, let's get to it. Some of the highlights of convention.
Well, I think the highlights of the convention would be what's going on in Washington with the tax, the tax changes, which none of us know exactly what's going to come down the pike, but we're all pretty optimistic what we're going to see. We talked quite a bit about the markets and what's going to happen with them, which also is kind of a wild card right now. So it's just like most conventions, there's more questions than answers sometimes.
A lot of policy discussions, a lot of things going on, obviously at the federal level, but the state has a couple issues as well.
Oh yeah, well we have water issues like we always do. We have, of course, we have the governor's race, which everybody in the world's running for governor. So that will have to sort its way out. So.
Well, let's also, we probably better step back a little bit and tell us a little bit about your operation. You know, a lot of people in Southwest Kansas know who you are, but this goes all over the state. So let's tell a little bit about you and your operation.
Okay. Well, I'm from Garden City, and we have a family operation that we started in the early part of the last century. So we've been in business for almost 100 years on land that some of it was homesteaded by my granddad and great uncle. And through the years, we've developed that land for irrigation, built a feed yard, and put in an ethanol plant in 1982. And so we get involved in quite a few things that affect Kansas here.
All right, and also, you've always tried different things, and is that the way you've kind of approached your business? Is always looking at adding value to those cattle?
We always add value, and we always look at opportunities. This is this one thing we have in this great country is plenty of opportunities if we just take advantage of them, and we've just tried to do that.
the opportunities. We had a large crowd here at the convention, a lot of discussions, a lot of things went on at the trade show. What's your pitch for folks that maybe aren't members of KLA? They should join the organization.
Oh, I think this is a forum where if they have ideas or things that they would want to voice, it's a good forum to do that. Also, when we all get together and speak as one, we have a lot more power in our voice. So I think I would encourage anybody to become a member of the KLA.
We're talking with Lee Reeve, who is from Garden City and the now president of the Kansas Livestock Association. We'll take a break and be back with more in just a moment.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com.
Let's continue our conversation now with Lee Reeve from Garden City, the president of the Kansas Livestock Association. Lee, you said a lot of issues. It seemed like back in the day, a lot was focused on what goes on around the state, but you and your leadership team spends an awful lot of time in D.C., and this year, and we'll spill over into next year, there's going to be a number of things, and probably one of the first things that cattlemen have worked on for a number of years are taxes.
Well, taxes are very important, as we all know, and of course, one of the big taxes that have come up that affect a lot of us is the death tax, and we're hoping for a repeal. We're hoping that we can keep the momentum going on getting that repealed. And then, of course, there's a whole variety of other taxes and changes that affect all of us, and we all have to adjust our operations like we all do to accommodate those new taxes that are coming down, or changes that are coming down the pike.
The other thing that is really a concern, it doesn't matter what segment you are in the industry, in the cattle business or even in agriculture, is trade. Trade, the export market. There's been a lot of rhetoric of what may or may not happen with renegotiation of some of our deals and other unilateral possible deals. We're starting to see maybe some pushback from some of our longtime partners who want to know really what's going on here in the U.S.
Well, fortunately, this has been a very productive country, and we're able to raise way more, produce way more than we need to consume in this country. So trade has been a very important part. And when you talk about trade, that's two-way. So we know we're importing a lot, so we need to make sure we keep those exports flowing. And we know that if we don't do that, all that stuff will come back and backlog us, and it will really hurt our economy.
Farm Bill, earlier on this year, some said they want to get it done this year. We're running out of days. It's going to run into 2018. Typically, the beef industry, the cattle industry is engaged, but not maybe some other commodity growers are. But the industry's wanting to see some things in this next Farm Bill.
Well, yeah, we seem to be engaged, but most of our members, or a lot of our members, are also involved in some kind of farming. So that bleeds over into our decisions, and then of course it's just helping support the other people in agriculture, because our voice just keeps getting smaller and smaller as more and more people are urban and less are rural. We need to kind of band together and help each other on these common issues.
All right. Anything else you want to let folks know, producers, consumers out there, on what's going on with the Kansas Livestock Association?
Well, I think our association keeps growing. The demand for beef that we've seen in the last couple of days continues to get better. There's no question we have a great product, and we just need to make sure that the rest of the world understands that and knows that.
All right, Lee, again, congratulations. Good luck this year.
Thank you very much.
Lee Reeve from Garden City, the now president of the Kansas Livestock Association. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up. Time now for an update from the Kansas Department of Agriculture, and Susan Metzger joins us. Susan, we're going to spend a few moments talking about water. A new groundwater management district is coming to the state. To tell us about it.
Certainly. So many folks are probably familiar with the local enhanced management area that's been in place for the past 5 years in Sheridan County. Drawing on the success and example of that, LEMA, all of Northwest Kansas Groundwater Management District number 4 has made the decision to incorporate themselves into a local enhanced management area, or LEMA. We've gone through the first 2 public hearings, which are required by statute, and now the chief engineer is evaluating the input based on that proposal and make a decision here early winter about implementing that.
So what does that mean if this is approved?
Certainly. So the proposal that the GMD4 has put in place includes the entire district geographically and looks at rates of decline. So areas where there is the greatest amount of groundwater decline would receive an allocation that brings them down to a level that's more sustainable. For those areas where they haven't experienced significant levels of decline, they would not have any change.
So interesting. So now if this is one that Northwest Kansas has worked on this for a long time, so once this is complete, maybe what, a couple years for others, or others looking at this as well, especially in western Kansas?
Certainly. So Sheridan County, or the SD6 as we like to call it, really set the stage and the example for the rest of the Ogallala High Plains region. Many folks look to see that they were successful both hydrologically and economically, which they have demonstrated that they are. So now not only all of Northwest Kansas, but also GMD1 is considering a potential LEMA proposal, and there's a group of individuals in northern Kearney and Finney County that are looking to develop one.
Susan Metzger with the Kansas Department of Agriculture has joined us for this update. I'm Ken Rogers. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up. We're joined now by Rich Feltz, who is the president of the Kansas Farm Bureau. Rich, we are actually in Manhattan with the annual meeting going on for Kansas Farm Bureau. Folks from all over the state talking all things agriculture.
Very true. And a lot of the conversations about next year is 100 years. So kind of prep for a centennial.
It is going to be a very exciting year to look back on not only how agriculture has changed over the last 100 years, but of course the Kansas Farm Bureau. So looking forward to seeing all kinds of things over the next 365 days or so.
Well, that's true. And, to reach us out a little farther than that, we've got a new group that's going to do some strategic planning too. So kind of interesting to where that group might take us as we go forward as well.
Well, sounds good. We're not going to talk policy today because we're still working on that. We'll do that in a later show. But you've had some pretty heavy hitters here. President Meyer, Mary Kay Thatcher, some other folks who spoke to your membership.
Well, I agree. It's too early to talk policy here, but not politics. Mary Kay, I think, did an excellent job of kind of lining out what the political climate's like in Washington, D.C. right now, and all the challenges that go with that. Hearing from Senator Moran and also Senator Roberts, as well as Representative Marshall, a lot of the uphill challenges we have, but also a lot of the things that we've been able to get accomplished.
Okay, Rich, we look forward to having more of that conversation, so we'll talk with you again.
All right. Thank you, Ken.
Rich Feltz, president of Kansas Farm Bureau, has joined us. We'll have more coming up.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com. What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
You need a partner that you can count on to be there for your business. Providing a depth of understanding to risk management issues so you don't have to. A knowledgeable support team located in your area, delivering products and services to make you more successful.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
The Kansas Beef Council recently hosted beef education and media training workshops for students enrolled in dietetic internship programs at the University of Kansas Medical Center in Kansas City and Kansas State University in Manhattan. About 30 dietetic interns and faculty members participated in the events. These checkoff-funded sessions are designed to provide accurate information and practical experience with beef to aspiring professionals who will reach thousands of patients with dietary advice during their careers. Future dietitians learned about beef nutrition from Kansas Beef Council dietitians Audrey Monroe and Abby Haderi. They heard firsthand how cattle are raised from White City rancher Debbie Lyons Blythe, National Cattlemen's Beef Association Senior Executive Director of Communications Darren Williams, and National Cattlemen's Beef Association Director of Grassroots Advocacy and Spokesperson Development Ryan Goodman presented tips for responding to media questions and conducting on-air cooking demonstrations. Students practice these skills through mock interviews about new protein research and through cooking demonstrations where they discussed on camera how to build a healthy diet with beef. This was the 6th year for these Beef Checkoff funded workshops in Kansas.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Eric Osterhaus with Paragon Ag Advisors. We're slowly finishing up a slow harvest season here for 2017, but already we're starting to look forward to marketing in 2018. And looking at the numbers, we see that the spread between soybeans and corn has been growing and favoring the planting of beans over corn. Thoughts are that this recent rally in beans will attract acres, especially considering many producers saw more profits in beans this last marketing year than corn. Obviously, the weather in South America has played a part here recently and caused both old crop and new crop prices to rise. Many producers are already looking at ways to lock in some of these prices, which is hard to debate if profits can be made. The corn market seems to be a reluctant follower of beans. However, if beans do decide to track higher, we should see corn futures move up with it. But don't be surprised if buyers of old crop corn widen their basis on any significant moves, as it doesn't appear that we're in danger of running out of physical corn. In regards to wheat, it continues to be a market in search of a new headline. Without that new headline, it seems as if the funds have free rein to trade the ranges. I think wheat has the potential of a bullish story, but it's going to take some time and patience to realize. If you have questions over these markets or any market, please call Paragon today at 888-452-8751. Have a productive day.
Closed captioning brought to you by
The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org.
Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Well, that's this week's show. For more ag news or watch the show again, go to KansasAgReport.com. For my partner Ken Rogers, I'm Brian Holman. Thanks for watching.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.